Thank you for tuning in today with us. Welcome to 27 Degrees SAG. We are broadcasting from the Galactic Center. My name's Duncan, and I'd like to invite our host, Kimla Lowe. Hey, Kimla.
Hey, Duncan, thanks so much for producing the show and getting everything organized and sound checked. And, there's a lot of things that you do, and I just want to say that you are greatly appreciated. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody coming along for this hour with us. We're going on a journey. We are under a Scorpio moon, which means you kind of get to the depths of mysticism and psychic ability, and also the truth. And we have What's Up Astro in the sky right now. A great thing happened this morning. The planet Neptune turned direct, and it's been in retrograde since June 25th. So all you little Pisces out there that are ruled by Neptune, you're going to start waking up, and you're going to start to see all of that inner work and all those codes that you've downloaded and all those messages that you subconsciously absorbed. They're going to start showing up on the outside, and that means anything from a Pisces sun to a moon to a rising, also Venus and Mars. So you're going to start seeing a lot more manifestation. Now, Neptune rules creativity, spirituality, and also rules psychic intuition, creativity, as far as being a poet or music, a sound writer, film. All these things are going to now start clicking around, and everything is going to come into play. And Neptune believes in unity, and I've got a guest here. I am so excited for you to meet her. She's been my spiritual friend for years, and she's from Colorado. And her name is Lizanne Flynn. I'm going to read you a little bit about her, if I may, brag on her a little bit. But she specializes in coaching all species on Earth towards unity within themselves and each other. She's a certified Reiki Master teacher and a certified Canine Massage Therapist. She began her journey as a facilitator of self-healing for all beings after completing her first career in healthcare human resources. And she found out about her intuition when she became aware that she had this ability to speak telepathically with animals while volunteering at a local animal shelter. And animals have always been leaders for her on her own path. So she has a patent with the U.S. Patent and Trade Office for a table. It's a portable animal therapy table, which enables both human therapists and animal client to be comfortable and secure in numerous healing modalities. So she has launched this wonderful intuition immersion program. It's designed to connect humans more deeply to their own intuition, and therefore the natural world and other dimensions around themselves. Also, in 2021, the Animal Ambassador Program was focusing in on creating a bridge between animals in the wild and humans. So she was a part of that as well, so that we can all learn how to be effective partners with the animal kingdom as they share our planet as well. I just want to tell you that she has been such a mind blower as far as her connection to the animal kingdom. And she's told me many wonderful things about my own animals. If you're in the chat room right now, thank you for joining us. Please put your hands together to welcome my spiritual friend, Lizanne Flynn. Hi, Lizanne.
Hi, Kimla. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm thrilled to be back with you.
I am too, and you are always such a delightful special guest, and you always enlighten us about not only connecting with the animal world, but really the connection within ourselves as well. And I love that. And I rely on you for enlightening us tonight with all of your knowledge and all of your new things that you've become aware of, especially in the health industry, your background, and how we can all be, let's just say, better or more awakened in the well-being of all of us that share Mother Earth. So I want to say thank you so much. And what have you been up to? What's new?
Oh my gosh, so much is new. And as an aside, I have to tell you, in my natal chart, my own moon is in Scorpio.
Woo! So you are on tonight. You know, there are no coincidences, right? I mean,
no.
You are tonight giving us the true scoop.
I had another astrologer say to me once that she said it was the mad woman moon, which made me laugh. And I'm like, yeah, I think that makes sense.
There you go.
It's so interesting in doing the intuition immersion program. It's definitely a co-created between myself and the universe. I'm just the channel, truly. There's no way I can come up with some of these things in this program myself. And I think the bottom line is reconnecting humans more to our own innate sense of intuition, reconnecting ourselves to what I call the master language of energy that all the other species on the planet speak except humans. And I've come to a place where I don't know if it's by design or by default, but humans on this planet, we have a curious amnesia about our place on the planet. I think in ancient peoples, indigenous peoples, I think they were much closer to the natural world than modern humans are. But because intuition is something I perceive that rests in the body itself, and the physical form of the body holds that operating system, if you will, there's no reason why everybody can't be using their intuition more, not only on their own path, but by extension then the animals and the natural world that surrounds them. I call it resetting the great imbalance, because we do have an imbalance right now. As much as we don't like to look at it, we throw goals out there and say this is what we want it to be like. We're not very good at listening, and we're not very good at balance and partnership. I think the animals perceive hope springs eternal, for them anyway, and we have to find a way back to our role of, I think, steward and guardian of the planet.
I think you're absolutely right. There seems to have been some type of an isolation for humans that took place, and I think perhaps it started, with World War I, World War II, and just the fear level has gone up so much. The barometer was raised so much that we needed to protect, isolate. I was one of those kids that had, the bomb shelter in the basement, and the lockdown situation didn't help anything, for the last couple of years as well. It just really seemed to bring up the fact that isolating, we felt all so alone, that people were running out to the shelters to get a pet, running out to get some type of companionship so that they could feel a connection, with planet Earth and the animal kingdom and everything else. Now, with your type of intuition that you have honed in and maybe raised a little bit more to a frequency that maybe some of us aren't quite there yet, with your program, is it something where there's different skills that we can develop more, or is it a pattern that we need to be aware of, or is there some type of some type of a kind of a key that you found that you share with people?
I think recently, and that's such a great question. Recently, I've come to the place, Kimla, where, again, from my perspective, and I would be the first to say, I know I know a very little about intuition. I think the more you start to know about something and experience it, you're also aware of how much else you don't know about something. And so, from my perspective and my own experience, connection via Reiki is kind of a must. Because with Reiki, that universal life force energy, Ki Chi Prana, that's something I can't replicate. That's between the individual, their soul path, and then that soul path, hopefully, that's illuminated through their human experience. So that would be number one. Number two would be, we start right off with dream journals. Dreams are such a good way for people to start getting messages, information, sometimes in a very startling way, and for the universe, their guides, etc., to start that whole communication process that I think everybody has when they're little. Kids and animals are so great at being so direct. Sometimes we think brutally so, but there's just such an unvarnished openness that I think dreams are a good way of doing that. We take a look at contrast. This is a planet design of duality. As much as humans try to escape duality, it's never going to happen. And so it's better if you can make the most out of contrast and understand its purpose. And then we move into shamanic journeying and how to have a much more interactive connection with guides in the universe. The gift that is the language of metaphor, and how story and metaphor is such an excellent vehicle for communicating. Although my oldest son says, I don't understand why the universe just doesn't send me a text. It would be a lot easier if they would just say, hey, here's what you need to know. And then we do move into things like remote viewing, as well as mediumship. And then if people want, they can go into the animal ambassador / animal communication piece. Not surprisingly, that was the piece that the universe was waiting for me to connect to a dream I had like 7-8 years ago about what was going to be happening. And so, but people can see it as a fairly structured way. Someone in my position, a guide and a mentor of the process, it's less like a teaching, Kimla, as it is more, you use the word awakening, and I would say becoming aware of other dimensions that we have in modern times kind of closed ourselves off to. They haven't gone anywhere, those other dimensions, but for whatever reason, we have just closed that off.
Right. And that really is, the old belief system, the old paradigm, what they are now referring to as the old empire. To kind of into the Star Wars thing, they're saying, that's the old empire. We're now moving into, a new galactic way of life. Hence the name of the show. But it's funny when you realize how much energy you have, and you're not really taught this, along with multiplication and division in school. So the energy patterns and the amount of power that we really do carry, I think, is something that is now becoming acceptable. It is now becoming something that, oh wow, I get to empower myself. I get to feel how powerful I really am. And then you begin to feel the power of the animals around you and the power of, let's just say, portals opening and different power to the mountains and the water and the streams and the different elements. Now, when you started with this and you found out from working at the animal shelter that you telepathically had this particular gift or perhaps way of communicating, do you also see, let's say, the fairies and the keepers of nature and things like that as well?
Oh, absolutely. All of what we would, adult humans would say, are the magical creatures. When I had my own radio show before, we did, I think we did one show at least on the whole gamut of fae and how they're very different than, and usually love a party, my perception. Also definitely want to, if they want to make a point, they'll make you feel that very sharp point. So don't mess around with the fairies, people. We did a whole show on dragons and calling in everyone's dragons. I don't know, I myself have had personal interaction with a number of animals in the wild via journey space, but definitely also unicorns. Everything is connected. I'm preaching to the choir with you, of course, Kimla.
That's okay.
They're, as Thich Nhat Hanh said, we are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. Everything is connected. There is nothing that doesn't affect everything else in some dimension. Humans are, again, curiously numb, mute, blind to a certain extent. It does, I think it does take, you said it so well, setting an intention to want to be part of that, to want to be able to embrace the duality of this planet, because when you embrace the duality, you automatically find yourself in a place of unity, which is what animals do all the time. It's not an either or, light or shadow, light or contrast, it's both. And because it's both, that's how they kind of leapfrog over any kind of divisiveness or any kind of, even the dance of predator and prey is a dance, it's a partnership. It's not a bad thing in their eyes at all. It has to be on this planet.
Exactly. And you know, it's survival, and it is really a sacredness. And I think a lot of times it's important that we also recognize the sacredness about our fierceness, you know, because we can feel very fierce at times. We can feel frustrated. We can feel, you know, that we've got to make certain decisions in order to move ahead on certain things, and to embrace our own survival, our own sovereignty, to make sure that, you know, we procreate, we are still on the planet, we are still moving forward. And but I do understand that this is all a huge movement. And I think our generation, and I'm just gonna kind of do a little thing like this because you too, our generation has made this giant leap for mankind about the understanding of energy. And it's not, you know, it's not just for us. I think we've got this ego blown out that the earth was just made just for humans. And I'm so glad that we are taking a moment here and we're saying, hey, you know, you're not the only one. Move over a little bit, yield to the rest of the inhabitants of the planet, and how to do that with style and grace, and understanding the sacredness of yielding. I think is really important. I'm so glad that you're doing this work. And also with your Reiki, that you are able to bring about a balance within the animals or a healing within them. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, do you have a place like an office or a place that is all set up for animals that people can bring them in and you can work on them?
Before the pandemic, I did Kimla. Since Reiki is pure energy, Reiki flows everywhere. So certainly these days, and even attunement-wise, for participants who want to go through Reiki level 1, 2, and master level teacher even, it's possible to do that at a distance. That's where the portable animal therapy table came in. When I was going through Canine Massage, and to date, which was really surprising to me that nobody had created this yet. If it's acupuncture, if it's cold laser therapy in a vet's office, if it's Reiki, if it's massage, most of the time it's either done on the floor or it's done upon a high massage table or an exam table. Either one of those scenarios creates an imbalance and a discomfort for either the animal or the human. The whole point in coming together in that kind of a healing modality is to have an energetic field, if you will, shared by both participants that is as calm and as comfortable as possible. It just makes the healing modality better. So when I did a search and I thought, surely I'm going to find, I don't have to build this thing. Surely I'm going to find that someone has created this before. But no, and I cannot tell you the numbers of times, because I taught canine massage for just about a year and a half in, I think, 2018, 2019. If you have a border collie who's in the middle of canine massage and needs to shake off the energy, I have seen more than one human massage table that is built for humans to just kind of lay there and not move, which is not dog energy. The dog goes one way and leaping off the table, and the table goes the other way. That's dangerous for everyone.
Oh, wow.
And putting an animal up on a high place, it's reminiscent of a veterinary exam table. There could be all sorts of thoughts and feelings that come up for the dog or the cat or whoever.
Right.
So this guy is square. It's got what I've got comfort corners on either end. It's about the height of a coffee table. The therapist or whoever can kind of roll around the table and reach the animal, whatever place they happen to be. So it's about bringing, it's the energy piece that you said so well, Kimla. It's about bringing animal and human together. And it's not so much a doingness, it's a beingness. It's a place of being. It's that sacred space that you talked about, that humans, we separate it out. If you look up the definition of spirituality and even divine, it talks about something that is outside of the body. It talks about something that is only connected with soul. And body and soul are one. What affects one affects the other. And so even our definition of something that we recognize to be quasi-magical, I guess I would say, or that we sense the energy of, we still separate it out from the body, which animals, if you ask them, even about religion to a certain extent, they kind of give you what I call the Aussie head tilt, where they're just like, what? What are you talking about? What do you do? You do what? How are you any different than any other species on the planet? We have so many structures that we've put into place, mostly thought structures to a certain extent, that we, in addition to I think just our evolution, we have put these structures into place that I think have only served to constrict to a certain extent. Right. And I agree with you. There's actually an author, you may know her, Dolores Cannon, numerous books, and she wrote about the waves of volunteers. Yes. I do too. The waves of volunteers coming to the planet, and based upon the year that you were born, and you had a different task than whoever else was coming to the planet. And certainly someone who was born in the 50s, 60s has a much different task than someone who was born in, say, like the late 80s, early 90s. And even kids born after 2000, their task and their energy then, by extension, is just very different. It's all connected, though. It's still all the same. Yeah.
It's all connected also, with the planets, because Neptune going direct is a generational aspect because it moves so slowly. And so this is exactly what we're learning is there are no boundaries for energy, and there are many different transitions to energy, but it doesn't just die like we think it's a final death. And I think that there's a lot of new belief systems, and I want to ask your thoughts too, Duncan, about this. About from a younger standpoint, are you seeing the old belief systems that are sort of dissolving and kind of going away and transitioning into a new understanding of energy?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think just like the changing over of power for like different countries and stuff like that, like after 100 years of a power being in place, it dies out after 100 years basically, and then something new comes about from the newer generations. And I definitely see and think that's happening too. There's just, especially in young kids, it's just so amazing how smart and how quick-witted some of these kids are. I mean, I think every kid is, and but it's just interesting. I feel like people are more connected like nowadays. And especially moving into newer energies and the astrology coming in, I think we're all waking up and feeling and seeing maybe past traumas that we have to work on and stuff like that. But as soon as people work on that, I think people are being more connected. But in general, I think the old ways of thinking inevitably get changed over to the newer generations.
Yeah, I do too, and this isn't something that is brand new. I mean, this has been on the planet many, many times. We've had lots of phases go through, and I mean, just look at the Sphinx, just look at some of the creatures that we have put into the fable category that really do still exist, and they exist perhaps as a different dimension, or they exist as a very limited amount on the planet Earth anymore. But I'm talking about Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever that name is. But they made
I got something that I just realized too. When I've heard this from other people, and I think it's true. But whenever the newer generations are born, on the Earth, I've heard that older generations are actually more sensitive to the EMF on the planet and stuff like that, or the 5G, and the reason for that is because they weren't born into it like the newer generation is, the newer generations. The newer generations don't know anything different than the frequencies already here being bombarded on us. So
that's absolutely right. Absolutely, because planet Earth, especially when I was born, eons ago, it was rotating at a specific rate, and it did not jump the frequencies as it has been. And that's what I'm saying, because our generation has done a wonderful job in adapting to the higher frequencies as it's been jumping to a higher rate. So when the new generation does come in at a very high frequency, they're operating on expectation, and they want it now, where, our generation, it was like, well, you had the same furniture all your life. Your parents lived in the same house all their life. And you were expected to go into the business of your parents. You didn't hop around from any other type of, means of living. That was the heritage that was passed down. Now, things are happening so quickly, the expectation level and the manifestation level has gotten to immediate. And I have recognized that as well. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Duncan. I'm so glad
I think it's a good point to bring up, and I think those frequencies are definitely bombarding us, and that's why the younger generations want things quicker, because it's actually accelerating the state of mind. It brings us out of the to the higher frequencies within the mind, like the alpha brain waves and omega and all of those brainwave states. It accelerates all of that and makes people and kids, on their phones, think a lot quicker and react, and that's why they're witty too. So, but also it brings up a good point for our sponsor today as well. And if you want, I can go into the break.
Sounds wonderful. Thanks for the segue. You're listening to 27 Degrees SAG, the Galactic Center. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to answer your questions in the chat room for Lizanne, our special guest this evening. So just take a sip or whatever you'd like to do. We're going to be right back.
All right.
Wireless technologies have given us many amazing conveniences and enhancements to our lives, but there is an invisible downside to all this convenience. Electromagnetic fields, or EMF, the silent, invisible, pulsing signals from Wi-Fi, cell phones, the global 5G networks, cordless phones, and other sources of EMF accelerate brainwave states, weaken the immune system, cause sleep problems, brain fog, memory loss, lack of focus, and more. EMF can damage DNA and your pineal gland or third eye, shutting down your intuitive abilities as well. Now you can protect yourself with unique cutting-edge technologies from freshandalive.com. The Rest Shield and Home Shield scalar energy devices. These one-of-a-kind technologies use advanced physics to structure EMF in your home or surrounding area, greatly reducing the damaging effects of EMF and allowing you to sleep deeply in a cocoon of soothing, subtle energy. Learn more at freshandalive.com.
All right, and we're back.
And we're back. Thanks so much for listening to 27 Degrees SAG, the Galactic Center. I'm your host, Kimla Lowe, and we have a wonderful special guest with us this evening. Her name is Lizanne Flynn. Lizanne, your expertise is this wonderful conversation that you have with everyone, but also more than the average bear. You get to do all these wonderful things and these healing modalities, and also communicate with animals. I was going to ask you, with all of this this new rate and this higher frequency, how it's affecting the animal kingdom, and are you seeing them perhaps merging into maybe a faster elevation as well?
To that, I would say no, Kimla. And what comes to mind, interestingly enough, is when we had the solar eclipse, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, where everything grew really, really dark. It was kind of a big deal. People traveled to different areas, etc. And I got a lot of questions of how the animals were being affected, which made the animals laugh.
By the way.
Well, and it made the animals laugh, quite honestly, because they're just like, yeah, we understand what it is. Yes, the birds will get quiet because they think that it's nighttime and there's nothing to be made fun of, and we understand what's going on. And to the increased frequencies in the evolution of Earth herself, we're the ones that are late to the party. The animals have been on board with this, and the plants, the fungi, all the plethora of other sentient beings on the planet, they've been on board with this for a very, very long time. And so because they're so deeply connected to the planet, when she starts either speeding up or maybe slowing down, her polar axis apparently is changing by a few degrees as well. Mm-hmm. They just kind of take it as it comes, and they don't. It's such an intimate partnership. They move when she moves, and they slow down when she slows down. We really are the only species that is impacting the planet and other species to such a significant event or extent. And so if any message that would probably come through, they would say, hang on, that would be number one. Don't freak out. And to a certain extent, this is your time. This is your opportunity to drill down a little bit deeper, sink your feet into the ground, do some earthing if you need to, go barefoot, hug a tree, feel the energy. All of those things are very grounding and very centering because we place so much emphasis on the mind/brain. We get lost, right? We get lost in the analysis paralysis. We get lost in the fear that you mentioned before. It's not that they don't have any of those emotions. They just understand the reason why a lot better.
And I think that you're right about that because we've developed some type of a resistance, against merging, with Mother Nature, like we're not supposed to or something. And the resistance, I think, is huge, absolutely huge. Duncan, do we have any questions in the chat room?
Yes, we do. We have one from Shady D, and she says she's always wondered if we could do ancestral healing on our pets through the Akashic Records. Is that something that's possible?
The immediate answer, Duncan, would be, and whenever I say, how am I going to put this? Sometimes it's so that I can facilitate the message a little bit for the human. Other times it can be, there's a telepathic download and I'm getting a lot of information and it's, okay, so how am I going to put this in human language so that there's effective communication? The very first thing that I heard was, there really is no need for ancestral healing with animals. With humans, there is, because we hang on to those ancestral wounds. With particularly our companion animals, say for instance, if there was a mother or father of a dog, the father had been abused, the mother was abused, etc. That really doesn't have any chance of being taken on, which is kind of a common human misconception, that our animals either take on for us our own illnesses. They might mirror for us what's going on energetically, but they have their own soul paths. They're not just empty vessels for us. And so they most definitely have past lives like we do. They have past lives with each other. They have past lives with their favorite humans. If there's any healing, it might very well be say, for instance, this is the second or third go around for a particular animal and a particular human. Perhaps that relationship may need to be facilitated, but it doesn't have anything really to do with the animal. I'll put it that way.
Wow.
Again, they have the Akashic records, but they don't really, they let go of it so easily. When they transition, they're sad to leave behind whoever it was, and wow, I had a great time here, but oh look, there's my next room. There's my next adventure. So they're so in the moment, they just, it's a really good question. I don't perceive that, again, the immediate answer for them was it's not necessary.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can feel Shady D, but all of a sudden there's kind of a lightening of energy. Maybe that's Duncan. But it's like, oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're good to go. Shady D.
Nice.
Anything else, Duncan?
No other questions. Sheila said, Kimla, Tammy is in the house, so happy she made it. Yeah, so there's that.
Tammy. Hello, Tammy. Now, Tammy has a question regarding past loved ones, wondering if you could facilitate a message from her past loved ones, and that's Tammy in the chat room.
I'm also a medium, medical intuitive. Hopefully you'll enjoy this, Kimla. I say to people, I know enough astrology just to be dangerous.
We're all dangerous.
Just this much. I know about the moon, the rising, and the sun signs, and then the rest of it is just whoosh, right over here. So great admiration coming your way, Kimla. That's for sure. Yeah, most definitely. Sometimes during an animal communication session, as would happen today, with the client, I say their intention is what makes the whole session go. And so it's like opening up a window of energy, and sometimes I say in advance, if I remember. So Great Aunt Gertrude might be sticking her head through the window to say, hey, in kind of an energetic drive-by. Sometimes the information is applicable to whatever issue we're talking about. Sometimes it's something that was forgotten, a relationship needs to be healed, etc. So yes. And it feels like for Tammy, it feels like there's actually several that want to come through. Again, intention drives everything. It feels like a male figure and a female figure. It actually feels like, I don't know if Tammy's father is still here or if this is Tammy's grandfather. And then as well, it feels like on that same side of the family, a female, and it also feels like either grandmother or even great grandmother. And they're saying to me, those ahas was just, as Kimla knows, the talking that's going on inside your head. It's just like that conversation. It's interesting, Tammy, because it feels like part of the message is everything is okay between us now. I don't know if there was some acrimony between those two people. It might have been a brother and a sister. It might have been a son and his mother. Again, same lineage, same side of the family. But the message most definitely is, to bottom line it, we're not angry anymore. What are you picking up, Kimla?
I'm hearing that immediately there was a piece from the passing, and I am picking up the older male as well, and that now there is a type of spiritual understanding, and this particular spiritual understanding is of great joy, great happiness that is trying to come through. And they understand from living about grief, and they understand about the loss. I feel like there was someone very close to her also. This could be another male that perhaps had something, I want to say maybe concealed something health-wise. Yeah, concealed something health-wise that didn't want to burden her or add extra pressure. But I feel like they're all having this meeting on the other side, and they're all putting these little pieces of the puzzle together for a new road. Like they're showing me Elton John's Yellow Brick Road, the cover of that album. And they're saying, you know, there's a great new Yellow Brick Road coming up for you shortly. So I'm getting, after the ball drops, so I'm getting 2022, that you are going to be getting a new opportunity. And please believe in yourself, because and don't turn it down, because they're saying, and with great intention here, they've worked very hard on getting you this. And so you must partake in this and have courage and say yes more than you know. Right. So that's what I'm picking up.
Tammy says in the comments, my father is still alive. Her grandparents didn't get along well. And she asked, could it be my aunts and uncle?
Possibly on that same side. And the interesting thing about this, Tammy, is that the soul, in my world, the soul contracts are eternal. Lifetimes kind of come and go. And so when there's facilitation in one dimension of a relationship or a situation, an issue, because those soul contracts are the same, relationships stay the same, especially familial ones, then there's automatic facilitation of energy in those. And so just by what Kimla said, you're knowing that they are getting along, they're not angry anymore, that then can facilitate any questions you had, any concerns, that everybody is not resting in peace, that everybody is not getting along. Sometimes just the knowledge that secrets have been revealed, that hurts have been healed, that there is greater understanding, as Kimla said. Out of the illusion of human experience, we see things with blinding clarity, which is the whole point. And so if that realization comes through, you can definitely take that to the bank and know, so to speak, which is an interesting turn of phrase, and I think it has to do with Kimla's Yellow Brick Road and kind of golden opportunity. Whatever family hurts have been facilitated.
Right. And they are kind of conjuring up a new opportunity for you in your career as well, something much better. So if you've been there, or if you have heard of something that perhaps may be shifting, or departments or something like that, but again, there's a good option coming up for you. So I'm very pleased with that for you. And any type of loss, you know that you're never alone. All you have to do is say their name. The sound of their name has a soul connection to you in this lifetime. And all you need to do is call out the name, and they are right there. They're right by you. And you can feel them. You can ask for a sign, and you will know that they now have a higher understanding where they didn't before. Okay? But there's this huge wave of love, like knock you down, coming for you, girl. So I'm feeling it. I hope you're feeling it. I'm going to push it right back to Tammy in the chat room. You are loved beyond belief, just so you know that. Okay?
Nice.
Anything else, Duncan?
Yeah, Tammy said they really do know me, LOL. So that's cool. Yeah, we have Ivy. She said, I would love a message from my brother who passed away December 10th, 2017. if possible, please.
We'll let you go first on that one, Lizanne.
It's always a bit precarious, as Kimla probably knows. At the same time, you can't disguise energy. And I don't, it feels like this happened very quickly. It feels like the very first essence that I got of it was that, how am I going to put this? There may or may not have been some sort of violence involved, violence against the self, so I don't know if this was a suicide or not. There's just kind of an abruptness about this. It could very well have been a car accident. Again, I'm just not getting that this was a terminal sort of a thing. To me, energy is either on or off. There might be, I don't want to call it shades of gray, but when that energy kind of first comes through, for me, it appears to be very clear. Yeah. His message is, I didn't think anyone would miss me. Quite honestly. Anything back from Ivy, Duncan?
Nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, there's that. Tammy also replied, she said, why can't I feel them? I believe that is referring to her aunt and uncle.
Okay. Kimla, what are you picking up about Ivy's brother? We'll do that one first.
Okay, I just want to tell Tammy really quick, ask for a sign, a specific sign, and you will feel them then. Ivy's brother, I feel like there's a lot of anger issues about what happened, or this something wasn't right, or I can't believe that's what happened, or perhaps there's a little bit of clarity that needs to come through as to exactly how he transitions. And I feel like there's still a little bit of a cloud of anger, of resentment, of something going on there that needs to be cleared. I don't know if he had any type of ink or body or a tattoo, but he's showing me a tattoo, and he's showing me that he's got, I don't know if he liked to put things together, but he's kind of got that going on still. He likes to put things together. I don't know if he worked on machines or cars or something like that, but he wants you to know that he's watching you all the time. In fact, there was some kind of maybe there was a bad storm or something, and perhaps you were in a precarious situation. Your brother stepped in to protect you in some way. He's showing me a car as well. I don't know if it was flooding or something like that, but he stepped in for you. Just know that whatever happened with his transition was supposed to happen for him. He wants you to know that, and not to get hung up on the facts or what happened or didn't happen, because he says it's produced a lot of resentment or anger or something within Ivy or within the family. Needs to be dropped and dissolved, because the love is coming through very, very much. I don't know if he was working on a project or not, or if he was doing something, but he seems to be close to you, Ivy, more than you know. So hopefully you can feel your brother close to you.
Yeah, Ivy replied, and she said he had a lung transplant a year before his passing, but his death was unexpected, and no one expected his passing. Also, she said he did have a lot of anger. In my dreams, he keeps showing me a car and trying to get one of my sisters in it. Huh. Wow.
Did he have a tattoo, Ivy?
Nothing yet. Shady D said, "Thank you for answering my question about animals." She also asks, Shady D also asks, "I would love to know if my father was okay at the end of his life. There was a lot of family drama, and I hope it didn't cause him distress."
For me, Shady D, what immediately comes through about your dad is that I don't know how aware he was of his surroundings. He says that when he looks back at kind of the emotional landscape of what was going on, he was just kind of waiting for that last little snippet to be cut between body and soul, spirit, essence. And he already knew on some level that this wasn't his, meaning all the acrimony, etc., wasn't his. And so he says, I had already made a choice at that point in time to just keep facing forward and just frankly to kind of keep going forward. And it's interesting about Ivy and the brother. There's still also a feeling of, how am I going to put this? That he did something himself to hasten the transition. I don't know if he was a smoker. I don't know if he didn't take very good care of himself. I'm not really sure what kind of that part of that issue was. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Ivy replied again. She said, "Yes, there is a lot of anger revolving his revolving his children and some of my siblings with their unresolved issues." She says, "No tattoo, but he wanted one. He spoke to me about getting one before."
Oh, okay. That's probably the connection that he wanted you to know. Yeah, definitely. As far as the father goes, I feel as though there was some back and forth about medical issues with him. He says hello, and he says, "Don't worry." He says, "Be at peace, don't worry." But he said that when he transitioned right away, there were his friends were there, people from the other side, and he went right, bam, right up. So it wasn't like he got caught in the fourth dimension or he got caught anywhere. He wants you to know that he went right up. It was like an elevator, right to the top right away. And so he says, "Don't worry about it." Now, Shady, do you like the color purple? I'm seeing you surrounded with purple. I don't know why.
Yeah, we'll give her a minute to reply. Ivy also said, "I do feel my brother tries to give me messages in my dreams. Yes, I don't think he took good care of himself the way he needed to."
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, there's just again the for me the feeling was similar to sometimes drug overdoses where there's just a hair that separates here and not here, and people don't understand how thin that hair is, that they like going right up to that line, but then if they go over, then there can be some regret, some remorse. There's some of that I'm definitely picking up from him, for sure.
Yeah. I think he's been working on himself to take responsibility for that though as well. They help you with that too on the other side. So I feel like he's definitely working on that as well. We've enjoyed your presence so much on the show, Lizanne Flynn. How can people get a hold of you?
The easiest way would be through my website, www.lizanneflynn.com. I offer all new clients a free 15-minute consultation, so reach out and hit me up for that. You can schedule online. I've got a podcast called The Animals, small letter I, capital View, VIEW. That's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much all the other regular spaces. I'm on Facebook. I have a private The Animals I View Facebook group. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. Let's see here, where else? There's a little YouTube video that I have. I'm not as brave as Kimla. I only do podcast sound bites for the every 2 weeks podcast that I drop on Thursdays, usually at 4 p.m. And coming up, there's the June of 2022 Intuition Immersion Program, where I'm already starting to get applicants, and Reiki, LizanneFlynn.com.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And my Aussie doodle has just, he's so rambunctious, he's just blown right behind me. Had to go outside, must have felt you, but I'm going to say he sends his best, Lizanne.
Thank you, Kimla. My best back to him and you, of course, and Duncan.
Oh, thank you so much.
So much. Well, everyone, I am going to be doing a podcast on my website all about the solar eclipse coming up on December 4th. Please tune in. It's kimlowe.com, and you can get all of my specials and my sessions on there as well. Duncan, take it away. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along with us. Until next time, may the angels protect you and guide you. Thank you, everyone.